Hello, welcome back to MG and Diego. My name is Ovela.
My name is Angel.
And we are reacting today to a video called Efficiency in Comedy, The Office versus Friends. So I stumbled on this video on YouTube just randomly, and my two favorite comedies were on the title, The Office and Friends. How could I not react to it or just watch it, right?
Right.
Let's watch, let's discuss.
I hate laugh tracks. I think they're annoying, unnecessary, and honestly, I find them to be kind of an insult to the viewer's intelligence. It's like the show doesn't trust you to know when to laugh, so they have to basically hold up a big sign after every joke and say, look, that was joke, it's time to laugh now. But then at the same time, it also kind of feels like a lack of confidence in their own jokes. Like the writers know that these lines aren't that funny, so they have to like peer pressure you into laughing because listen to how much these other people are laughing. You should be laughing too. Most of all, though, I hate laugh tracks because as a viewer, when I hear the sound of canned laughter, I am completely taken out of what, in my opinion, should be an immersive experience. I want to watch a show and feel like a fly on the wall during a realistic human interaction, and yet a laugh track serves as a constant reminder that these characters whose lives you're trying to get invested in are not actually characters. They're just actors, acting on a stage in front of a live audience that reacts to every joke like they just woke up from a long coma and this is the first joke they've heard in 20 years.
Closeness, schmoseness. There was three of us for crying out loud.
Being an auditory distraction, laugh tracks also mess up the flow of every scene. Even if you remove the actual sound of the laughter, it's still evident that these conversations have a very unnatural rhythm.
Of course.
Well, yeah.
Ooh, somebody's been taking big cheap pills.
God, he's an ass when he drinks.
Well, he's an ass when he doesn't. You just don't hear it.
Line, long pause. Line, long pause. I've never in my life had a conversation with that cadence. It's just not how people talk. Probably the worst thing about these laugh tracks is that they don't always correlate with the quality of the joke. Every response seems to indicate the same level of hilarity when, here's the thing, some jokes are just better than others. I don't expect every line to elicit this room-wide eruption of laughs and cheers, and I don't hold it against a show if a joke doesn't make me audibly laugh. But when a throwaway line is followed up by several wasted seconds where I'm just waiting for the next joke, and then it happens again and again and again, I get impatient and I don't want to watch the show anymore. These episodes are about 22 minutes long, and it feels like I'm only getting maybe 10 minutes of actual comedy. And that's when my brain hatched an idea. Exactly how much of an average episode of Friends is just laughter? What percentage of each episode's 22-minute runtime is wasted by a glorified sound effect? And then to take it one step further, how many jokes are there in an episode of Friends compared to an episode of, let's say, The Office? Obviously, quantity and quality aren't the same thing, and one good joke is better than 100 bad ones. But in this case, I do think quantity is a pretty good indicator of overall writing quality. So I had to know. I had to get to the bottom of this. But how? And then I remembered I have a YouTube channel and I can do stuff like this, so.
My goodness.
This is interesting.
The type of people out there.
About 90% of this video is simply going to be opinion-based. I may present a lot of what I'm saying as if it were fact, but what most of it comes down to is simply personal preference.
Of
So
course.
let's start with
Objective.
The Office is my favorite
subjective,
show
sorry.
of all time.
There you
I'm
go.
a bit of a basic bitch, so no, I'm not talking about the British version nor the Japanese version for that matter. I'm talking about the
There's a
American
Japanese
version.
version?
Because here in the
Oh
USA,
my God, we have to watch
may not
it.
be the first at doing stuff, but I'll be damned if we aren't the best. The Office combines everything I want in a comedy show. Again, personal preference. It's hilarious, it's quick, but there's also a lot of depth to it. Characters develop deep, meaningful relationships that have ebbs and flows and give each episode more of a purpose, particularly in the first 3 seasons with the back and forth between Jim and Pam. More than anything, though, I love the way The Office is directed. You can tell there's so much deliberation involved in setting up the perfect shots, which is something that may seem small, but I think the movement and position of the camera can contribute so much to the tone of a scene, as well
small
as even
zooms they
serving as
do
a joke
during
in
a
its own right.
joke.
For example, in the season 2 episode entitled "The Carpet," after it's been established that someone took a dump in Michael's office and no one can go in there because it smells so bad, Michael has a talking head bit where he kind of rambles about how this is like his Fear Factor audition. Eventually, he can't stand it anymore and starts to rush out of the room, but it's at that moment that the camera zooms out to reveal that even the cameraman didn't want to be in that room. It's a small detail, but it was enough to make me chuckle and feel smart for noticing it. But I'm rambling. I love this show. I could talk about it for hours, but the title of this video isn't why I like The Office. It's The Office vs. Friends. So
they might be giving he might be giving them a little too much credit.
Now, no scientific endeavor would be complete without taking an educated guess before.
Yeah, I mean, in that shot, maybe it wasn't intended to be that way.
Averages 140 jokes, which is roughly one joke every 9 seconds. On the other hand, I'm going to guess that an average episode of Friends contains about half that. Let's say 80 jokes, or one joke every 15 seconds.
Because of the laugh track.
I'm going to guess that approximately 3.5 minutes of every Friends episode is just laughter. And I'm also going to guess that roughly 7% of you just clicked off the video when I started rambling about math. So let's speed this up. For The Office, I chose Season 5, Episode 14, Stress Relief Part 1. This episode is near and dear to my heart. The opening scene alone is an absolute work of art. Dwight, for awareness reasons, intentionally starts a fire in the office to see how prepared everyone would be in that situation. Which is funny enough on its own, but then he has this self-righteous attitude throughout the scene while everything deteriorates into chaos, led by Michael, who immediately puts his safety before everyone else's. There are so many hilarious details, like Kevin going back to break into the vending machine, Angela hurling her cat into the ceiling, and Stanley ultimately having a heart attack as Dwight explains that this was all a test. From start to finish, it's beautiful, and there are 41 jokes in it. After the opening theme, the next scene is a meeting between Michael, Dwight, and 2 corporate higher-ups. Halfway through the scene, Michael casually gets up and sort of waltzes over to the other side of the table, trying to subtly switch his role in the situation, and then starts lecturing Dwight. There are 16 jokes in this scene, 3 during their car ride back to the office, and 11 in the next scene where Stanley comes back to the office and Michael offers him a wheelchair, quote, until he's back on his feet.
I'm going to die.
After a commercial break comes one of the greatest scenes in television history, the CPR training scene. If someone asked me, hey Drew, I want to get into comedy writing, where do I start? I would say, I don't know, I just make YouTube videos. But I would tell them to study this scene. I don't even know where to start with this, so I'll let Steve Carell set it up.
We found ourselves on the less prepared side of things when when his heart went berserk. And I knew exactly what to do, but in a much more real sense, I had no idea what to do. So I thought we should have a CPR training class.
So this woman has been hired by corporate to teach the office CPR. Michael instinctively volunteers Stanley, you know, the guy who just had a heart attack 3 days ago. But then after the rest of the office starts to express concern, he decides that the boss should go ahead and show everyone how it's done.
Okay, too fast.
The instructor has to try repeatedly to get things back on track.
I was petrified.
Staying alive.
Oh my god.
Parking lot earlier, that's how I know you.
Oh, and Creed. Fucking Creed. He has 2 lines in this entire episode, and they're both hysterical.
That's one of my favorites.
If he has one, we only have minutes to harvest. He has no wallet, I checked.
This scene is so well written, the way everything slowly gets more and more heightened, the way each character progressively gets more involved.
I love how she gets up to dance.
So random.
And
so after Dwight destroys the very expensive CPR dummy, he and Michael are once again forced to go.
He put his glasses on those dummy. I never noticed that.
This is a short scene with only 5 jokes. We then cut back to the office where Jim, Pam, and Andy are watching a movie he downloaded illegally, which doesn't exist outside of the show. So props to the producers for actually shooting clips from a fake movie where Jack Black falls in love with Cloris Leachman. I counted 9 jokes in this scene, 8 in the next scene where Dwight issues his statement of regret.
I state my regret.
And another 8 when Jim, Pam, and Andy finish the Jack Black movie. The episode ends with Michael leading a relaxation exercise, which, you guessed it, is not very relaxing. There are 28 jokes in the scene, and the episode is over. In total, I counted 166
What does he call a joke? Because it's like
slightly
every line?
Yeah.
You guys want to double check my math? Go for it. I also tried to be as unbiased with this as possible. I included punchlines that didn't make me laugh, but I recognized as having meant to be a joke. If I refuse to tally jokes that I don't think are funny, then
very
how am I even
subjective.
doing this, you know? Besides, this is science. So now let's transition over to Friends. Controversial opinion alert. I actually like Friends. Now, if I hadn't watched it with my mom growing up and didn't have a little bit of nostalgia for it, I'd probably feel differently, but I think it's a pretty okay show. It's got likable enough characters,
is he gonna watch
even though they're all
show
mostly
the
reliant on
clothing
basic
episode?
stereotypes. Rachel likes to shop, and Monica likes to clean, and Phoebe's wacky, and Chandler's sarcastic, and Ross is awkward, and Joey likes to fuck. But 5 out of the 6 actors are good, and the writing is usually fine, with the exception of the occasional awful joke thrown in from time to time.
Anybody know a good tailor?
You need some clothes altered?
No, I'm just looking for a man to draw on me with chalk.
As far as the laugh track goes, I can forgive shows like Friends for having a dated format because
It's dated.
the show premiered
It
almost
is old,
25
yeah.
years ago. It's not really dated if it literally is dated. And that's just what sitcoms were like back then. It was
Yep.
the standard. I'm much less understanding of shows that have debuted in the past decade that rely on this format. Originally, this video was going to be The Office versus The Big Bang Theory, aka the world's worst show. I felt like that would be too easy. It's like making a video on Lily
I don't
Swan's.
agree.
Like, we all know she's bad. I don't know anyone who actually likes The Big Bang Theory, and honestly, watching multiple episodes for research purposes just sounds like a nightmare. So I ultimately decided on Friends because it is a show that people generally enjoy. It's just, I think, sometimes a slave to its own format. There are moments in
Where
every
does he
episode where you
live?
fight the urge to incrementally skip forward past predictable back and forth scenes where you know what the next line is going to be, but you gotta wait for the audience to calm down so they can say it.
What's
But because
wrong
of
with
all this
that?
anticipation
Not
that's built up,
always.
Now that line gets the enormous over-the-top applause. It's very formulaic, and that is the exact phenomenon that led me to want to make this video in the first place, so let's get into it. How much of a typical episode of Friends is just laughter? Funny story, I wasn't sure which episode to choose here, so I went on IMDb to see the highest rated. The second highest is the one where everyone finds out, and I was like, oh, I remember that one. That's a good episode, I'll do that. And then I realized, holy shit, this just happens to be season 5, episode 14, which is the same as the opposite. This is a perfect comparison, and I will not listen to anybody who tries to dispute that. Yes, it's all coming back to me now. This is
Montreal.
definitely
That's
one of
true.
the best episodes. The basic synopsis is, spoiler alert, Chandler and Monica have been secretly dating for the past 15 episodes, and only Joey knows. Rachel and Phoebe find out because they see Chandler and Monica having sex,
doesn't
but rather
know
than
that she
confront
knows
them,
he
they try to
knows.
mess with them by having Phoebe flirt with Chandler. It goes back and
Oh
forth
my
until it all
God.
climaxes at
The
the end of
dance.
the episode. They kiss, Chandler freaks out, tells Monica he's in love with her, the crowd goes, woo! End of episode. Yes, that was a significantly shorter synopsis than the one I did for The Office, but I realized I didn't want this video to be 90 minutes long, so gotta cut corners somewhere. In this episode, I counted 121 laughs, which is surprisingly high, actually. I definitely way underestimated the Friends writers, but I also way underestimated the amount of time the audience reactions would take up. My guess was 3.5 minutes, not even close. Now, I will say I included scene transitions in this, not the theme song, but the silly little stings they play in between scenes, because I felt like these are as much of a waste of time as
We love
But
that.
anyway, after isolating these two things, I was left with 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Over 25% of the episode has no dialogue in it, no substance at all. It's just audio
It sets the
filler
mood.
to pad the episode in between jokes. Side note, if you guys want to double check this number and see what an entire episode of Friends looks like without any dialogue, I will be posting that video on my Twitter @DrewIsGooden. It's kind of hilarious, actually, and I feel like even if you've never seen this episode of Friends and just have a basic understanding of the characters, you can completely understand what's going on without hearing a single line of dialogue. Now, for the sake of being somewhat
could be
thorough, I went ahead and did the
hilarious.
same thing for one more episode of each show, the first episode of season 2, and got pretty similar results. I counted 119 jokes in The Office and 96 in Friends. I'm gonna guess that these numbers are a little more typical of what an average episode of each show is like, whereas the season 5 episode 14s of each show are more an outlier, like the best of each show, but still the results are comparatively pretty similar. Alright, so we've counted the number of jokes, we've isolated the laugh track, and used science to determine that The Office is a much more comedically efficient show than Friends. So, the only question to answer at this point is, does it really matter? And that's entirely up to you. Efficiency is a term I've thrown around a lot in this video, but it's important to say that it's not the deciding factor when it comes to comedy, because comedy isn't math. Comedy is completely subjective, and I'm not here to tell you that you should like one show more than another because there's more jokes in it. The whole point of this video was just to incorporate a small bit of math into a non-mathematical experiment. But at the end of the day, just watch whatever makes you happy. If you like Kevin Can Wait, then watch it. If you only like Disney Channel original movies, then watch them. Even Camp Rock 2, which was an objectively disappointing sequel. But whatever you do, don't let someone tell you what you should like, especially not me, because I just spent the past 2 weeks of my life voluntarily doing math. What the fuck do I know about comedy?
Truth. Oh, well, what do you expect from a guy who speaks that fast, you know? It makes more sense to me that he would prefer The Office over Friends, because Friends is a little bit slower and they guide you towards understanding the joke and everything, just like he mentioned.
Yes.
But The Office, if you miss it, you miss it. That's why you have to watch that show multiple time. Friends, I find if you watch it multiple times, it's not just to understand the jokes or to catch all the jokes, but I feel like the Friends has more life teaching moments, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Obviously, The Office does too, with Michael's
We learn a lot from Michael.
phrases,
What not
yes.
to do, rather,
But it's always comedic.
Yes.
But in Friends, they do tend also to take it more seriously.
yeah, there are warmer episodes. There's a little more drama. There's a little more. It takes it a little more seriously.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, just like he said, I'm just glad that at the end he mentioned that it was all subjective, that you don't have to listen to him, and that you can watch whatever you like. And we are fans of The Office, Friends, and The Big Bang Theory, even though, yes, The Big Bang Theory, it's a hit or miss episodes most of the times.
I like it, but it's not. Yeah, it was a hard journey.
It's not a favorite of ours. It's a show that we do watch, that we enjoy.
Period.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we can also like talk about The Big Bang Theory just like we talk about The Office, you know. But no, it's not. We're not in love with The Big Bang Theory the way we're in love with The Office and Friends, because Friends was my favorite ever. I just remember watching like 4 seasons when I was in high school, and I enjoyed it so much. It was amazing.
I get that.
Yeah. And The Office, I hated it at first.
I remember.
Because I couldn't understand the comedy.
I thought I would have to break up with you.
Oh my god.
I introduced it to him and I was like, this is not happening.
It's a deal breaker.
Because it was my friends
I thought there was something wrong with her for enjoying this type of comedy, because
You're not the only one.
Yeah, because I lived all my life in Africa, so that was like the second year that I came to the American continent, so it was like really like introduction to American comedy, because I used to watch French comedy more than American, and Friends comedy is more international, it's like for everybody.
It's a safe kind of comedy.
Exactly.
And the laugh track helps with that.
Exactly. But The Office is very
it's
crude
very
American comedy,
It's very cultural. Very cultural.
Yeah.
There are nuances that you have to be part of the culture to understand.
Exactly.
Pauses that you would only get it if you understood how a normal American conversation flows. Then you understand why it's funny. Definitely. I completely understand.
And living with you, I started to understand those things. You started to explain those things to me, and they made more sense. And I just kept persevered through the thing, and I started loving each character. And before you know it, the scale has started tipping.
Oh my god!
And now I do believe I prefer The Office more than Friends, but
it's hard.
It's hard, man. It's hard.
The other day, I just wanted to put Friends on while I was doing some chores in the background. I ended up listening to it all day while I was doing my chores and loving it again. I had forgotten, it's just so much fun to be with the characters, and the delivery sometimes, it is so perfect, and you can't see anyone else delivering it the way that they do. And that's also what makes the difference, not the laugh track or anything. It really is the delivery. The characters are lovable, the actors are lovable. And I'm thinking of Jay-Z's music video.
Oh, yeah.
Where he had his own version of Friends. And those actors too, they delivered the same lines in their own way, and it was just as wonderful. So I can't say it's just the delivery. It's true. Props to the writers for creating some clever writing. And it's not always that obvious. Maybe to some people it is, but quite frankly, sometimes they say things. I'm just like, how could you even think to say that in this moment? That's not where I would have gone with it, and I appreciate that they went in that direction.
And it's not for no reason that these shows are at the top. I mean, like if you take The Big Bang Theory, 2.5 Men, you know, all those shows that he mentioned as well. Why aren't they all revered as the best?
Because they're created by the same guy.
Maybe. There's a reason. Even if there's a laugh track, there is a reason why Friends is so loved. Loved so much.
Some people compare Friends to Seinfeld a lot. But
no,
I can't. No, you know?
No.
We watched Seinfeld from A to Z, and it was fine.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like, I would never watch it again.
I might, but, you know, it's not Friends.
There was something missing to it. It was like a cake without, like an eggless cake. Like,
it was less
solid.
believable. Yeah, it was less believable.
It was crumbly. It just fell apart. It was, every episode almost feels like it stands on its own.
The exact that.
Like
and
it's not one show.
And it felt more like a show than Friends.
Yeah, like these aren't real people. But it could be because the culture that they're aiming at is not one that we're a part of, you know?
Yes.
The Jewish New Yorker, maybe that's something we don't know enough to relate to.
There was a problem is the fact that the main guy, what's his name again? Seinfeld.
Jerry.
Seinfeld, yes. At the end, he would cut to him being a stand-up comedian.
Oh, you didn't like that?
No, it's not that I didn't like that. It takes you away from the reality of the show. Like, you're like, oh, you know, well, this is a show. He's promoting something. It felt like promotion.
I see what you mean. Well, it was his job in the show, so it was different.
But it would appear just out of nowhere every time at the end of an episode. It's like a formula.
I understand. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But then I'm thinking again, Friends is not people I've grown up with either. So never mind about the cultural thing.
Yeah, no.
Because I don't know any New Yorkers, but I still love Friends. So,
yeah.
And I'm not from Scranton, but I love these people.
Props to this guy. I mean,
for taking the time.
2 weeks to do all the math and everything.
Editing the video, putting it together, audio, all that. Yeah, it's work. So
I'm gonna check his channel.
Good job, kid.
Yeah, I'm gonna check his channel for sure. Thanks for watching.
No, I wasn't ready.
Subscribe here. Blah blah blah. Okay. Thanks for watching. Like this video below.
What? Okay.
Good.
Yes.
Thanks for watching.
Please like this video.
Subscribe here and amazing things will happen.
And turn on your notification bell to be poked for future videos.
Yeah-yeah-yoom.
Yeah-yeah-yoom. One more time.